Alice Cooper was never just a rock star. He was a cultural icon, a revolutionary who changed the landscape of rock music and performance. With his dark eyeliner, shocking stage props like guillotines and snakes, and his raw energy, he created an experience that blurred the lines between reality and fantasy. But behind the notorious persona of Alice Cooper was a quieter, more vulnerable man, Vincent Damon Furnier. Now, at 77, the man who once terrified and enthralled audiences is looking back, reflecting on a life that has been shaped by both the triumphs of fame and the cost of survival. The bravado that once defined him is now replaced by introspection, as the man behind the mask confronts the consequences of living a life at the extremes. Childhood shadows. Growing up in the suburbs. Long before he became Alice Cooper, Vincent Furnier was just a thin, pale boy growing up in Phoenix, Arizona. Born to a preacher and a deeply religious mother, Vincent's childhood was steeped in tradition and discipline, with his family life centered around church and scripture. To the outside world, his family seemed perfect, orderly, moral, and devoted. But beneath the surface, Vincent felt invisible and misunderstood. He spent much of his youth battling chronic illness, confined to his bed for long stretches due to fevers and weakness. While other children played outside, Vincent found solace in reading horror comics and escaping into daydreams of faraway worlds. The emotional pain of isolation was just as intense as his physical suffering, and he began to feel like an outsider in his own home. This emotional disconnect would shape his desire for reinvention later in life. Finding music and identity, the birth of Alice Cooper. High school marked a turning point for Vincent, offering two key lifelines: music and performance. He joined a band called the Earwigs, which eventually evolved into the famous group Alice Cooper. For Vincent, the birth of Alice Cooper wasn't just about creating a stage persona, it was a psychological escape. Alice Cooper was everything Vincent wasn't: bold, fearless, and larger than life. On stage, Alice thrived in chaos and spectacle, captivating audiences with his shocking theatrics. Offstage, however, Vincent struggled with insecurity and emotional scars. The creation of Alice Cooper allowed Vincent to channel his fears, isolation, and anger into a character that the world could admire and fear. But while Alice was an expression of strength, Vincent remained fragile, hidden behind the mask of his alter ego. The rise of the monster, superstardom's double-edged sword. As Alice Cooper's popularity skyrocketed in the 1970s, Vincent found himself torn between the man he was and the persona he had created. Alice was a rock star, a creature of rebellion and spectacle, while Vincent was an introspective man struggling with self-doubt and emotional turmoil. The louder the cheers from the crowd, the quieter Vincent became. Fame brought him wealth and recognition, but it also brought immense pressure. The relentless demands of touring, performing, and embodying Alice Cooper left Vincent feeling exhausted and isolated. He was trapped in a cycle of performing as someone he wasn't, and the more successful Alice became, the more lost Vincent felt. The persona that had once been a shield had become a prison, and the lines between Alice and Vincent began to blur. Love and family, the challenges of parenting. Marriage and family added new layers of complexity to Vincent's life. Living with Alice Cooper was far from ordinary. Every day required negotiating the boundaries between the flamboyant stage persona and the vulnerable human behind it. Sheryl became not only a loving wife but also a stabilizer, balancing Vincent's unpredictability with calm and persistence. Parenthood. With the birth of their 3 children brought new challenges. Vincent was determined to shield his family from the darkness he had endured, but his past trauma and the emotional scars from his fame sometimes led to withdrawal and distance. Parenting became a delicate balance as Vincent struggled to provide love and stability while managing the complexities of fame and recovery. Yet, despite the challenges, family life offered a sense of purpose and grounding that Vincent had never known as a child. The quiet stage. Reflecting on aging and mortality. At 77, the lights of the Alice Cooper stage have dimmed, and the once terrifying theatrics are now a thing of the past. The man who once held the world's attention with his shock rock performances now faces the quieter trials of aging and reflection. Health concerns, fatigue, and memory lapses are constant reminders of the physical toll that decades of performing have taken. The once vibrant persona of Alice Cooper, with its dark makeup and outrageous antics, has faded into the background, and Vincent now confronts the inevitable reality of aging. As his body grows weaker, he finds solace in the quieter moments of life: family, faith, and personal reflection. The stage may no longer hold the same excitement, but the lessons he's learned from his life are invaluable, offering a new kind of peace that comes from looking inward. Legacy and loneliness. The cost of survival. Alice Cooper's legacy is immortal, but it doesn't shield Vincent from the emotional toll of a life lived at extremes. Fame brought him recognition and wealth, but it also isolated him from meaningful connections and deep personal fulfillment. As he reflects on the years spent in the limelight, Vincent is aware of the relationships strained, the family moments missed, and the loneliness that came with living behind the mask of Alice Cooper. While his music and persona will continue to inspire generations of fans, the man behind the legend remains haunted by the solitude of his journey. Fame may have saved him from obscurity, but it came at a profound personal cost. The emotional scars of addiction, trauma, and the price of survival linger, reminding Vincent that even the most iconic legends are shaped by their vulnerabilities. Survivor at last. A life measured by reflection. Vincent Furnier's life has been one of survival, a man who endured fame, addiction, and trauma to emerge on the other side with the wisdom and resilience to continue. Though he now faces the quieter stages of life, the lessons he's learned are profound. His story is a testament to the power of reinvention, the importance of love, and the courage it takes to face the darkest parts of one's soul. As Alice Cooper, Vincent lived at the extremes, pushing boundaries and defying expectations. Now, as he enters the final chapter of his life, he finds peace not in the applause of crowds, but in the quiet reflection of a man who has survived it all and is finally at peace with himself. A human reckoning. The man behind the mask. The tragedy of Alice Cooper is not just the story of a rock star, it's the story of Vincent Furnier, the boy who grew up sick, lonely, and misunderstood, and the man who learned to survive behind a mask that both protected and trapped him. Fame immortalized his persona, but couldn't shield him from pain or loneliness. Addiction, trauma, and isolation took their toll, yet love, faith, and family helped him find a path to healing. At 77, Vincent faces his quietest stage of all. A life measured not by applause, but by reflection, endurance, and reconciliation with the man behind the mask. His legacy will be defined by more than just his performances. It will be defined by the humanity that shone through the spectacle.